Hello and welcome, Inspired Podcast community. This is your new episode. My name is Caroline, and my today's guest is Derick Johnson. And I'm so happy that he said yes to our interview. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking, and thanks for having me.
Thank you again, and let me introduce you to the audience. You are a US Army veteran and life coach who has helped over 500 clients and 50 companies transition from merely surviving to thriving through your coaching and marketing expertise. You are a three-time recipient of the Soldier of the Year Award for your battalion. I don't know how you pronounce this, and has received numerous accolades for physical training. Derick leverages his leadership skills, certifications, and life experiences to empower people to take control of their mind and body for a thriving life. Welcome to the Inspired Podcast, Derick Johnson.
Thank you for having me, Caroline.
Wow, awesome. And my first question is, what inspired you to transition from military service to life coaching? And how have your experiences in the Army influenced your approach?
Great question. So, what inspired me was seeing many soldiers and athletes that I work with for their mind and body, the mind and body connection, but also just in general in the world. So, people that feel like they're stuck in a box, they have a bad relationship with food or with alcohol, or they can't overcome a trauma from the past. Maybe there was violence in their home as a child or as a teenager. So, all these different things. And I just fell in love with psychology and teaching people natural, holistic ways to overcome those things so they can start to live life on their terms and not just be reacting to something in the past or stressed about the past or stressed about the future and not here present.
In the present moment. So beautiful how you explained this. Thank you so much. And we talked about that you are coaching other people and successfully as well. Do you have coaches and mentors for yourself? And who was the best coach you ever had?
Yes, I actually got certified via Tony Robbins' life
Hmm.
coaching program. And then Les Brown, who's also one of the top speakers, he had a program, in person workshops down in South Florida. And so working with them, not one on one with Les Brown one on one, but Tony Robbins, it was his program. And I learned so much from his team and his staff. But on top of that, would also be leaders that I work with in the Army. And I would say, the men in my life, like my father and my great great grandpa, because the men in my life were just always working hard, helping the community, helping family. And that's what I saw. So I truly believe that kids, we don't do as we're told, we do what we see. So I always saw my dad wake up early, work out, and be the first one at work, the last one to leave. And definitely that helped because it just is normal where other people, it's hard for them to get up earlier to go help other people because maybe they're thinking about themselves or they're struggling or they're just in a different industry. So I would definitely say the men in my life growing up as a kid and teenager, and then Tony Robbins, Les Brown, and also Greg Plitt. He passed about 7 or 8 years ago, but he used to be a fitness model and a motivational speaker. He was also in the Army. And so a lot of what he did, I saw proof of what is possible. So he was somebody that was doing all of it. He was doing the military, leadership, modeling and acting. And then he was also speaking and traveling the world. And he was the first person I saw that did it all. And I said, wow, I want to try that.
Wow, I love what you said about leading by example from your father's model as a role model. I love that so much, and you use it now for coaching your clients or showing them, not telling them, but showing them first what's possible. Mhm.
Yes. So I aim to show what's possible and also just in regards to living what you teach. Because a lot of times experts in this field of psychology, therapy, or anything along those lines, they speak well, but they don't actually live it. And you can see it. Maybe they're trying to do it from their heart, but they're not really living what they preach. So I've always aimed to be the person that does what he teaches or does what he preaches. And I never recommend something that I wouldn't do.
Oh, so true. And does it have to do with authenticity as well?
Yes, definitely. Being ourselves and
Mhm.
not being afraid to be ourselves. Because nowadays, some people they hold back because they want to fit in this box or they want to be in that box, or family says, "Why are you posting this on social media?" And then too many opinions where I just challenge people to be yourself unapologetically, wholeheartedly, and just be the person that you are, which is the best thing. Because now it's too common for everybody to try to act the same, look the same, or make the same content.
So true. And when you talked about being yourself, and especially on social media as well, I think it comes also with disappointment when when we think, so I don't hold back anymore. I just post being myself, and then family members get disappointed because they don't recognize you the way you were once you decide to change. How do you deal with that?
So in regards, we have to accept that some people they don't want to change, and we can't force them. Sometimes it's family, sometimes it's friends, but the right people that are open to change, it's a smoother process. But it's hard at first. You want to help everybody. I want to help everyone, but not everyone's ready. Not everyone wants to change, and some people they just don't like us, so we can't be the one that helps them. So it's just if somebody can push their pride and ego out of the way, then they can see there's some people that resonate with them and then others they don't connect with, but maybe they might come around and want help or want guidance, but they just have to be ready.
Yes. We know this saying, right? When the student is ready, the teacher appears.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. Okay, let's have a look at my next question for you. Can you share a recent success story where your coaching helped a client or company achieve significant growth or transformation?
Yes, definitely. I've had a client that had very bad and it was crippling social anxiety. So when it came to grocery shopping or shopping in general, she would always have to be on the phone with a friend or family member because there was like that anxiety of being in public alone. Sorry. So anxiety of being alone in public, and she would always be on the phone to overshadow. People are looking at me. People think this. People think that, and she just was not confident within herself. So she always was codependent on somebody on the phone, if especially if nobody could come with her in person. And so we worked on her physicality, we worked on her mindset, and then eventually she stopped having to be on the phone. But for her, that was huge because we didn't realize she was doing that since she was like 16 and she's in her 30s now. So 15 plus years doing that of just anytime she's in public, she would just have to, like the second he gets out of the car and turns the music off, has to be on the phone because of just a fear of being alone in public. And there's a lot of past things that happen, but that's one example of something that is different. But I didn't never realize how common that was until I'm in public and you can see who's on the phone and who's just using the phone to like not be in public, avoiding making eye contact, avoiding conversations, things like that. So it's very interesting to see that some people have that from past things. Another would be helping an individual overcome drinking and drugs and overcoming addictions naturally, and then helping them with their faith. So then they started to believe in God more, started to believe in their own potential or capabilities. So I have many examples, but I would say the extreme examples of things, excuse me, the extreme examples of people that had very crazy things happen to them in their past, and now they're like living their response to it. So teaching them how to overcome those. So whatever they do right now, they can fix it, stop doing it, but realize that they can overcome what's in the past. Not just making ourselves better right now, but when we can truly overcome the past, then they can start to feel free. Like their chest feels lighter. It doesn't feel like they have all the weight on their shoulders and they can just be themselves.
Wow, I love what you just shared about, having the faith or the confidence in that it is possible to change your, I would say habits, right? It's a
Yes.
habit of drinking or having anxiety in public. You mentioned the grocery store, and you know what? I never heard of this before, that people people
Yeah, it's
people
like
use their phone.
crippling social anxiety. So like they don't like the eye contact, they don't want
Mhm.
to speak to somebody, and it's just the internal stress of something else. where they don't want to come across bad. And it's always something from the past. It's not really that they're that scared of doing it. It's just something in their subconscious. And even going out to eat by themselves, like let's just say they have a lunch break, an hour lunch break, and they go to a restaurant by themselves. Some people that are like, go out to eat by myself, but it's a real thing. There's some underlying reason why. And for others, they're like, I love going to lunch by myself sometimes and just not talking and just being there. But it's very interesting. But it all relates to peeling back the layers and learning why. Where did this shift? They were not always this way. Something happened to make them shift, and that was like the auto response.
Wow. Yes, you mentioned responding instead of reacting, right? When I'm in public and I have an anxiety attack, then I react because I'm not able to think anymore. It's my survival brain kicking in, and then I
Oh yeah,
just run, or I don't know what I'm doing. But I never thought of this because you always, yeah, you said about they pretend to be on the phone with someone, but if there's a real person, you always have to find someone to
yeah,
talk to. I don't know.
exactly.
How do you do this? I don't know.
Yeah, you mainly figure out what it was from the past, and
Mhm.
then the second is they just need more self-discipline so they feel more confident in themselves, and then they realize that what they're doing is overshadowing a different thought. So it's not so much they're scared of people, they're just scared of themselves and are not happy about
Mm.
themselves, and they think when people look at them, they can see that. She
Yes.
is depressed, he is scared, or oh wow, they're not in shape, whatever they think. But most people, they're in their own head. They're not even paying attention. They're thinking about how they look, sound, or they're stressed in their mind, and they're not even here in the grocery store. Their body is, but their mind is just somewhere else. So most people, they don't even notice us because we think they see our flaws, our insecurities, our issues, whatever it is. So once people can tap out of that, then they start laughing at themselves in a positive way, thinking, why did I do that? But again, it's always the auto response with some people. It's interesting, it's different, but it's crazy how common it is.
Yes, thank you so much. And I have to mention what we talked before before I pressed the record button about languages. It
Yeah.
is because we found out, or you told me you lived in Germany, right? So you speak German fluently, and I was like, how's the word, embarrassed? Or I was like I fell in an old paradigm because because I'm, yeah, in that language, I accepted the label to be shy until 2021 or something like that, and I worked on myself. So for me, maybe the overshadowing is to use the English language. I don't know what it is. I will dive into that, but thank you, because what you said about the people feel seen, or they think people see their insecurity or whatever. This was the case when I felt like not trapped, but how was the word, discovered. So you
Yes,
did you uncovered, like, oh, and now
exactly.
she's talking in English and she doesn't have a clue what she's doing. But this is, the podcast is my way of breaking free, from
Yes,
all those things. So thank you so much for telling me that. It
no
encouraged
problem.
me to move on, to continue, of course. And I have I think a last question for you already.
Okay.
What are your next goals for expanding your impact and reaching more people through your coaching and training programs?
Great question. It is to build the personal brand and I'm releasing my book this winter. It's my first self-help book, and it's going to be a roadmap and a workbook, not just my story, but it's going to have a little bit of my story. But at the end of every chapter, it will have action steps that people can take for mental health, physical health, and every area of their life. And then the other goal that connects to that is to have the in-person workshops and seminars and speak at events. So I'm excited for that here in the winter, speaking throughout the United States, and then for next year traveling and doing like a book tour. But just the energy in the room when you can get 50 or hundreds of people in a room and talk about these things, and somebody stands up and expresses what they're going through, and I answer the question and we just go. But that connection and that power in the room, it's undeniable. You can do it on Zoom, but it's still effective. But in person, you can't fake that energy.
Yes, and you can't run away or pretend to be
Yeah.
on the phone
Yeah.
with someone. Oh my goodness, when I think about speaking. Yes, these are also my next steps. So, okay. Thank you so much for our interview today. I don't know, you mentioned your book, of course. Please reach out to Derick. He's amazing. Where can we find you in the web?
Thank you. Thank you. It's Fit with Derick, DERICK.com. Fit with Derick. On there, they will see fitness clients along with life coaching. So, a lot of body transformations and a lot of videos of people expressing their journey where they used to struggle with this. Now they have confidence, they have mental peace, and just overcoming things. And you see their smile, you see the light in their eye. And that's my favorite thing because you can just tell that this person is just speaking from their heart because they were in a dark place and now they have control. And on social media, it's Fit with Derick 2, the number 2. I make content to make people think. So if somebody hits the snooze button too many times and they see the video, they're like, okay, he's talking to me. But it's more so to plant a seed to elevate people so they reach their potential. And so I just love making content that makes people think, where it's different, where we'll talk about trauma or a topic of, do you say I'm sorry too much? And they're like, huh, what is this? And then they realize they say I'm sorry all the time. And so things like that really go back to the past of why people do things. But yeah, it's Fit with Derick.com, and then Fit with Derick 2 on social media.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much. And also for explaining to me. I see you are doing, let's say, funny videos to show people, because this is where they want to be, right? This is the not the future, the vision. This is the vision, and
Yes.
it can be easy, of course, and you don't have to dive back into the trauma and pain, for example. I assume.
Yes, so there's multiples. So some of the videos are educational, some are empowering, and some are entertainment. So a mix of all three, where it's not just like drill sergeant. Some videos are, and then the other ones are funnier. But it's just to grab people's attention and open up topics of conversation of things that are honestly important for people to talk about, where it's a safe space.
Oh, thank you so much for creating this space safe, and I say let's make the world a better place, of course.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, please reach out to Derick. Check out his social media accounts or content. Of course, we say this. And now it's time for your last thoughts to the audience, please.
My last thought would be a challenge. What do you have to do to become the person that you always needed? What do you have to do to become the person that you always needed? So for the men, what do you have to do to become that man that you always needed? Maybe you did not have the best relationship with a father, uncle, or grandpa. So what do you have to do to be that ultimate man that can serve and lead other people? And then for the women, what do you have to do to become the woman that you always needed? Even if they did have a great mother or great grandmother, how can you be even better? And what is that clear vision of that person you want to be? So get away from how can I do this or what should I do, and ask yourself, who do I need to become? It's all about the who inside. Who is Derick? Who is Caroline? Who is Bobby? Who's Michelle? So once we figure out the who and we elevate the who we are internally, everything else starts to come together.
Thank you so much. I'm inspired now. Yes, thank you for our interview, and have the best day ever.
Thank you.
And see you in the next episode.